Super Popsy Popsicle Punch.
Welcome, guys, to the first episode 0 of the Chilidogcast with your host Fox Plays and your boy Super PP, aka Super Pretzel Punch. Say hi.
Hi, how's it going, everyone? Welcome into the Chilidogcast. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day.
Now this show is based on, I guess, me and Pretzel's frustrations on with I guess topics of conversation that people don't talk about. So the name Chili Dog came from that we're talking about hot and spicy topics. Plus we dog some few people in the gaming industry. So this chat we like to promote the good side of the gaming industry and the bad side of the gaming industry. Pretzel, tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
I am Super Pretzel Punch. You can just call me Pretzeler Kelly. I am a full-time now variety streamer. I basically just play anything that interests me. And my chat bullies me. They claim I bully them, but I don't think that's true. I think that's just spreading salacious rumors.
I think you get bullied pretty hard. Not gonna lie,
I get bullied very, very hard.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, so we've got basically a few skeleton outlines of the show. Like I said, it is episode 0, so we're just testing out the kinks. We haven't got like a proper I thought of an intro off the top of my head. But yeah, I guess we'll start off the episode. Now, also, this chat is live as well. So if we are talking about a topic of conversation, we are reading the chat. If something's really spicy that adds to the conversation, we'll absolutely bring it up and talk about it as well. So yeah, feel free to, if we're talking about something that's interesting and you have your 2 cents, and we think your 2 cents is worth 4 cents, we'll definitely mention it. All right. So Pretzel, do you want to take it away with the news?
Yes, please. Let's go.
All right, let's go. News time. All right, at least that went smoothly.
Sorry, I'm watching I can't hear when the music goes off.
Me
so
neither.
I don't know when it's my turn to speak. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about news. So this kind of covers between like August 18th and today. And we're going to talk about some positive and negative. We're going to do a bit of both. We're not just going to focus on the positives. We're not just going to focus on the negatives.
Correct, yeah.
We're going to try to spread it out a bit. So the first thing I want to talk about is a topic that is very important, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it or have maybe in passing heard about it, and that's what's happened at Rocksteady. If you don't know who Rocksteady is, Rocksteady made the Arkham games. They're also making the Suicide Squad game coming out. And the kind of crib notes of the story, it was first broken in The Guardian, and I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat to the article. So basically what it is about 2 years ago, November 2018, 10 out of the company's 16 female staff had basically raised complaints about
sexual harassment,
quote unquote, slurs regarding the transgender community, discussing a woman in derogatory or sexual manner with other colleagues, sexual harassment in the form of unwanted advances, leering at parts of the women's body, and inappropriate comments in the office. And apparently what Rocksteady's response was a 1-hour presentation to the other developers and the other people that worked at Rocksteady, and after which they signed a form saying that they received the training. That was pretty much it. Until this was an internal memo that the women that signed it released, basically calling out Rocksteady for inaction. And, this is a topic that is very important in the gaming industry, just because it's kind of a boys' club. It still is a boys' club.
Yeah, gaming's definitely still boys.
It's still a boys' club, and the one thing, and this is so in a broad sense, sexual harassment and stuff like that is a problem across many, many different industries.
Correct.
The one thing I wanted to bring up specifically regarding this article and this topic was a very specific part of the article. And what it was, and I'm going to try to find it so I can quote it directly. Pardon me, I should have highlighted it.
That's okay.
Here we go. So this is from the article. The signatory said that the dismissive attitude towards women had in the past carried over to the company's output. This is the important part. Rocksteady doesn't have the best reputation for representing women, she said, citing the highly sexualized design and costuming of characters such as Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn in previous games. Quote, sometimes you could see the surprise on their face when you said that's not how women dress. So the reason why I think that this is an important part is because you'll sometimes hear an argument about, it's one of those things where it's like, well, as long as it doesn't affect the product, then who cares? Or like it's a one-on-one thing, or it's a internal company thing. But this is specifically saying that this culture that they've created in there, where women's ideas and women's inputs are being pushed out, directly affects the product.
Correct.
And you can even look at this yourself, because if you look at the history of the design of Harley Quinn, for example, and Poison Ivy, up to the release of the Arkham games, and then afterwards, you'll see that there's a very distinct difference in the design of the characters. And that this is an example, a tangible example of how this kind of boys club idea and women's ideas being pushed out is directly affecting the product itself.
Yeah, correct.
And I'm also going to link a video. It's a very famous video where let's see, here it is.
So
no, go ahead while I find this.
Yeah, so while Pretzel does that, so I obviously wasn't made aware of this at all, and like I played Arkham the first two games just playing it just normally, and like I didn't notice it that much, right? But then when Pretzel pointed the fact to me, and then I was like, oh, but like let's just talk about Poison Ivy just first, because Poison Ivy is meant to be sexy. She's meant to be like, she lures men in, she uses the plants to kill people. But when I looked at her design in the comic books, and then to the Arkham game, she went from like sexy and empowering and like strong to like a man's fantasy, in fact, of like what a woman should look like in the bedroom. Effectively, it's like, it's quite like, I didn't realize that. I was like, shit, that's actually like, it's enough to like make you think. And like, yeah, have you got the video up, Pretz?
Yeah, so here's the link. It's to a Twitter video. So what it is someone took a scene from Arkham City, I believe, and what they did is they did a model swap between Batman and Catwoman, just to show how they have represented the different characters. And I think that it's funny and it's silly, but I think that it brings up a very important topic that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of. So in film theory specifically, but it applies to all media, there's this idea of what's called the male gaze. And I'm not a pro, and I'm not well studied in feminist theory when it comes to media studies, but basically the idea is that the products in media are created, and especially female characters or female roles are created with the idea of appealing to heterosexual male people, and it's made by heterosexual men. And so what this kind of, I guess the best way to put it is, there's no in-game reason for a lot of this stuff. There's this, and so what I kind of relate, like the gaming industry, what it's going to now, it's kind of what the film industry went through. And the film industry is over 100 years old. But even in the early stages of the film industry, it was all men producing films, directing, cinematography, etc. And you can see that the films and stuff were made by men with men in mind. And you can still see it nowadays, right? The classic example I think of is that Star Trek movie Into Darkness. where the one female character is just it's just a randomly inserted scene of her in her lingerie. It doesn't add anything, but it's meant to specifically appeal to a certain demographic of
Yeah.
people, right? And that's what this feels like. And this is why it's important for women to have voices and for their voices to be heard when it comes especially to media development, right? Um and this isn't, I don't know, do you want to input on this?
No, you've hit the point there, head. I guess, and like Papi Art made a point out there, and Crazy Your Mom as well. You think entirely stems from lack of diversity in game creation, possibly, or just like a lack of sensitivity, I guess, or lack of people's other perspectives. And then Crazy Your Mom
It's
saying the only female in the game dev course in college. Yeah, absolutely. It can be a
Yeah,
little, it can be a little trickiness.
gender diversity is a big part of it, but even beyond that, it's so in this article, Rocksteady had 16 women working on the team, right? And women were voicing opposition to
Yeah,
character
and
designs
that's
and character decisions, but the problem was their voices were being pushed out,
yeah, and that's not cool.
right? So it's not even, so here's the thing, and here's a common misconception is that just adding more women is going to fix the problem. It's not that simple.
No,
That's a
it's not.
part of it, right? The other part of it is that their voices have to be considered on equal grounds with other men,
Yeah, correct.
or in other people, and it has to be taken into consideration just as well, right? Um, and what, like I said, what really stuck out to me more about this incident more than other ones is that they are claiming, and it is fairly tangible if you look at the designs, that this is an example of this hetero male centric like workplace and environment directly affecting the product, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's the most important takeaway from this, as far as, not the most important, actually, I misspoke there. The most important takeaway from this is sexual harassment and women's voices being
Silence.
squashed
Yeah.
is a problem, and it needs to be addressed. And the gaming industry is relatively young, right? And it started as a boys' club, right? It
Correct.
started as men in their garages and in their bedrooms making games for other men and stuff like that. And in a lot of ways, I mean, it's the problem with like decisions by committee
Mm.
and decisions by demographic, right? Because an example that I like to bring up is that so when Mass Effect 3 came out, I don't know if you remember this, it had
Yes.
reversible covers.
Yeah. So
And this is just a very, it seems like a
issue.
it seems like a non-issue, but it really is, if you think about it, an issue. Or I think that it's indicative of a larger scope that these companies have, which
I'll
is
just
the
explain
reversible.
it to people in
Yeah,
case
so
they don't know.
so basically what it is Mass Effect 3 had a reversible cover. If you don't know, in Mass Effect 3 you can play as either a male Shepard or a female Shepard.
That's the main character.
And there's no, yeah, as the main character. And there's no in canon
Who's the correct gender of the game. It's just
right. It
you
doesn't
can
matter,
you
right?
can be male or female. But the funny thing is that the female voice actor Jennifer Hale did a way better job at the character than generic male Shepard did, and in a way, it was kind of like female Shepard. Like some people even like consider her canon, even though she's not. Like it doesn't matter. But like it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like it's such a big part of the game. Like you start the game of, and the first option is male, female. That's the big option in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and like I always play as a female in most games anyway. That's just me. But when you see the cover, you always see the game's advertising John Shepherd on the front of the cover. What's the female Shepherd's name?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I know that I know that she's generally called Femme Shep or something like that.
yeah, yeah. So
But
um, and yeah, so like she's like a big part of the game. So Sarah is it Sarah Shepherd? All right, thanks, Sammy B.
thank
Um,
you.
so yeah, so like when you buy the game, she's on the cover. Like sorry, male Shepherd's on the cover. So it's kind of like the game's advertising you play as a male. but like she's the main character. Like it's a 40-hour long game. She's like a big part of the story. So it was very cool. And I'm glad the fans outspoke about Jane Shepard. Thanks, Mocha. Thank you, Mocha.
Thank you, Mocha.
That Chris was Jane. All right, thanks, great. Crazy Mom confirmed as well. Cool. So it was really good that for Mass Effect 3 that they eventually got together, and then the cover's reversible. So if you guys don't know, the Mass Effect 3 on Xbox 360 and PS3, you can slide the cover out. On the one side, it's got male Shepard, on the other side, it's got female Shepard. There's equality right there. Not a big deal. I'm sure it would have costed EA millions and millions of dollars of their printing budget, but they can afford it. They got millions of dollars anyway. So, but like small stuff like that, like that's kind of I think that's
Well, it's
I think
the
really
fact
cool.
that but here's the thing. So it's reversible, and in the game, it's not really canon whether you're male or female, right? There's no like, it's not like, oh, I'll bring this topic up too, maybe, but it's not canon whether you're male or female, right? It could be either way. But the committee, the council, whoever decided, well, the default cover is going to be male Shepard on all games that we sell out, that we put out there, right? That's kind of an example of that they're still targeting a demographic, right? The 25 and under male, right?
Yeah.
And it's because of that they're targeting that their decisions are made based on that. That's just a small example that's always stuck out to me. That the male becomes the default, right?
Yeah,
even in a game where there is no default, right? But due to marketing and stuff like that, the male becomes the default, and I think that speaks to it, right? And I know we're getting a little off topic from the actual news
from Rocksteady. Yeah, I know. And like
Rocksteady, but I think that it's a broad topic, right? In general, as far as like women's voices and women's opinions, and how women are portrayed in games or how they're valued in games, right? And again, this isn't to say that this is a blanket statement for everything, right? And here's the thing: you can name very specific examples where it's not true, right? You can say Aloy, you could say the main character from Control,
and Lara
as
Croft.
recent examples, right? But but it's more about like in general, what if someone that's not embedded in the game, in gaming culture, what do they see more often than not? What is someone that's new to the industry or slightly from the outside going to see, and what do they see coming from the game industry?
Yeah, I guess for games to be taken seriously, like to be considered art, the indie game scene's fine. I'm sure they've just got their own small problems in that, but when it comes to AAA industry, they are making it for males. And what Jarvis said there about Cassandra's statue for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Fun fact: Cassandra was actually meant to be the main character for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and then in the last minute business decision, they added Alexios in it because the CEO of I don't know if it's the CEO or the lead designer. He said women don't sell games, so like that's their mentality. That's Ubisoft's mentality right there. So it's not just Rocksteady. It's just pretty much every big company has been guilty of the same issue. So it's just kind of like it's a system wide problem. We're just talking about game industry. I know there's issues in every freaking industry in the world in regards to equality and all that, but yeah, I guess it's just a good conversation to have. I think people need to think more outside the box and think of just being a bit more inclusive. Like, if the main character is written as he's a male, fine. That's the way the story is. And then same with like, if the main character is female, that's the way it is. But if you're gonna have like non-gender character, or like or you can choose between the two, like just make it equal. Like, it shouldn't matter, I guess.
So Poppy brought up some questions. Do you want to read the couple of them real quick?
Yeah, sure. What did Poppy say? So that chat's going too fast. I feel like I'm a partner streamer right now. What is the distribution to genders playing games, and do you think more women play games if representation should be better? That's a very open-ended question. Like, that's one of those things. Like, if you have a time machine or check like a parallel dimension, would it change? I guess I guess when I was growing up as a kid, no girls played no girls played games. It was only like when Pokemon came out, but you I guess you're playing as Ash, catch him. Was it in Gold and Silver you can find and play as a boy and a girl? I think that was the first one where you could choose your character.
So I pulled up some demographics.
Oh yeah.
So the average age of a U.S. gamer is 35. The average number, so this is U.S. centric,
Yeah.
so I apologize. The average number of years a U.S. gamer has been playing games is 13. Blah, blah, blah. Only 29% of the gamer population is under 18. The American gamer population is 59% male and 41% female. Of those female, women 18 and older account for the greater proportion of population than males younger than 18. And the average female game player is 44 years old, while the average male video game player is 33.
Okay.
So, as far as your question, do you think women would play games if representation was better? I don't know if it's. So here's the thing. I think that it's more about, and to answer your other question, you asked, do you think targeting a demographic in certain games is inherently an issue? If we went the opposite way, would it just be as big an issue? It's not so much that targeting. I think that the problem is that it's kind of a so it's a matter of, are you giving people what they want, or are you telling them what they want, right?
Oh, okay.
So
Explain that.
so if you are giving them a certain type of character and a certain representation, are you giving them what they want, or are you giving them what you think they want, or are you telling them what they want, right? So for me, it's a matter of, I guess, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. If you have anything to interject while I'm thinking, feel
Yeah,
free.
no, that's like a like that question like hit me hard. Um, that's just like how do you even answer that? Because like what I look I for me, but that depends on the person. Because for me, I just want a good game. That's all I want. I didn't give a crap. I don't even crap who the main character is, as long as either the gameplay is amazing or the storyline's amazing or the best bet both are amazing. So like I accept the game for what it is at face value. But when it comes to the I guess the mainstream gaming market, which I'm not really that part of, that's they've got a they've got a social responsibility in a way to make the games more I guess inclusive, I guess.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they want to make money. EA, Activision, Ubisoft, they don't care that much about the game. They'll make a good game as best they can, but they'll cut corners where they can. Um, but like if they want to sell more, they need there's a target of females that they're missing out on because they're just being silly.
Right. And you brought up a point that I think I was trying to make, which is that it's not even so much, we're ignoring the business aspect, right?
Hmm.
It's more about, like, on the ethics side, do these companies, it's a question of, do you think these companies have an obligation to present um, images and ideas that are more inclusive or more genuinely representative, right? Uh, because it's an easy argument to make. Well, it sells, so that's why they do it, right?
Hmm.
But and no one's arguing that, right? No one's going to argue that, okay, well, it sells, so therefore it's. But I don't think that that's kind of the discuss. I don't think that that's a very interesting
Nah,
discussion.
it's crap.
I think the I think the interesting discussion is whether these companies with a platform have a platform and the distribution and the resources, as far as logistics and stuff like that, but also intellectual resources from all these different types of people that are involved in it, whether they have an obligation to shape the norms,
Hmm.
right? Or if they have an obligation to change norms and to change ideas versus just capitulating to what they think people want, right?
Hmm.
Or giving people what they think they want. So, for example, with Arkham City, if they had designed Harley Quinn more in the style of the
The,
Batman animated series with the
yeah.
full body suit, the full Harley Quinn suit, and they did that, right? Would
Well, the game.
would people have been up in arms and said, "Oh, well, she's not dressed scantily enough," right?
Mm,
Like Rocksteady had an opportunity to, with their platform, shape norms, and they've done it, right? If you look at the way that Harley Quinn is being portrayed nowadays, since then, they've been following that model of Harley Quinn, for example, right? And these companies, I don't think, realize like how much of they may think that they're giving people what they want, but they're actually shaping the narrative themselves
yeah, that's a
and
good point.
telling people what they want in some ways.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was gonna say, Pretzel, how are we gonna segue to our next topic?
oh, I don't know. I'm just seeing if there's any questions.
And I like Hippie Meg's comment. They're taking capitalism. They don't have any obligation because, or in capitalism, I guess it's the market dictates what you want. But hopefully, a new market and social pressures will make the change. Yeah, well, I guess that's what happened in Mass Effect 3 with the changing of the cover. And I think people did whinge about Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well in regards to Alexios and Cassandra as the main character. And I guess and it's good to see games like say Horizon Zero Dawn selling well. That encourages, I guess it's like a what's it called, a precedent that it's okay to make a female character lead and the game will still sell well and will still get good reviews. Even like Tomb Raider, how when they redesigned Lara Croft to be less of a double D cut breast and went to like a normal. I don't like saying the word normal, but just a more like less sexier version of it. She's just just a strong female character. Like it just shows that you can do it. You have a choice. People have a choice to do so. It's just whether do big companies want to do it or not. That's the question.
And
I guess we're trying.
Poppy, I understand what you're saying. Like, and I think that you're kind of making you're stating something that an argument that I said was not very important or not very interesting, which is that yes, it's their business to sell, and they're going to follow the market trends and stuff like that, right? But I guess the question is, do these companies then have an ethical obligation to be more inclusive and to create better representation? Um, and I think that that's a more broad, important question.
Mm.
Then, like I said, it's easy. It's an easy, like almost like axiomatic way of just saying, well, they're there to make money, so they're going to do things to make money. It's not a very interesting
Yeah,
conversation to me.
it's not a
You know,
conversation.
no, it's
It's
more
like boys
like
will be boys type of thing.
yeah, exactly,
It
and
puts no
it's more about
responsibility on anyone.
exactly. But I think that it's a ethical obligation, sure, but I don't think that will be seen until the customers speak up. That is true. I mean, but again, that goes back to like they they it goes back to that discussion of companies are only responding to the numbers, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Um, but for example, if EA put out Jedi Fallen Order with a female character instead of a male character default, that's such a simple, easy thing that could have been done to change things, right? But they didn't. They defaulted to male character, right? And they just did it because of demographics, probably, or whatever, right? That there's, and uh, this is without any actual like facts to back it up. So this is just me kind of thinking out loud, or theorizing or hypothesizing, that they looked at it and they said, well, this game will sell better if we have a male character than a female character, right?
Mm.
And they're basing it on the demographics or whatever market research they've done, probably.
Mm.
But if they had changed it to a female character, right, and it wouldn't have changed anything in the game, probably, but that is an important, it's no different than if Horizon Zero Dawn was a male character instead of a female.
Mm.
But the fact that it's a female character feels more significant and more important, right? Because it gives a good example and it creates a character that stands out and is a female character that isn't hypersexualized, isn't there strictly to be a love interest or to be gazed at by the male. I'll give you an example of what talking about male gaze. one of my favorite examples and why Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of my favorite games is if you guys haven't played it, so you play as Naked Snake, but you run into a spy called Eva, and she's a kind of prototypical Bond girl esque
Femme fatale.
seductress, right?
Yeah.
Femme fatale, right?
Yeah.
So there's scenes where she is changing or trying to seduce Snake, but the game does not force you to watch her. You have the option to do it. The game lets you decide whether you want to engage in sexualizing her or not. Right? And that itself is commentary, in my opinion. That the game does not force you to do it.
So what we're saying is, like, with the cinematics itself, the cinematic isn't going like, here's her boobs.
No, exactly.
The cinematic is playing, and you have a choice with your player's eyes. You can use the right analog stick to move the camera around. You can stare or not stare.
Right. Choice. Well, it's what. So basically, you push a button and you go to Snake's POV.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and you see what he's looking at. Yep, yeah, exactly. So it's a matter. It gives you, but they could have just as easily have made it so that it's a cutscene that you have no control over, and the game focuses on those things instead of giving you the choice to focus on them. That's an example that I like to bring up when it comes to this idea of male gaze and stuff. And male gaze is more of a prevalent idea in film than it is in video games. But in video games, it's a big part as well, especially when it comes to cutscenes.
Correct.
And stuff. Because cutscenes are out of your control, right? Cutscenes are out of your control versus in games, you can decide whether you want to move the camera and focus on different things. But do you have anything else you want to add about this, or any other topics or examples?
I think that's it. Look, we actually deviated from, like, I guess the original topic was like Rocksteady, being dismissive about sexual harassment claims as well. And it's not just Rocksteady, there's a few other big companies as well.
Ubisoft, Riot, the lead developer of Skullgirls.
Oh yeah, that just
a bunch of people left his company because he was being a creeper to cosplayers. But is it entirely fair for us to criticize every male character? Then I agree that it would be super neat if Fallen Order started female, but should we now criticize? No. So this is the a common misconception about the idea of male gaze, right? Is that there's an equivalent of female gaze, and there's not. And the reason why is because in order for there to be a female gaze that's equivalent to male gaze relies on three things. One thing is that the people making the product are all male, that the audience is male, and that the character that we're supposed to relate to is male. So in order for there to be a female gaze, it has to be made by women, with a emphasis on the audience being women, and the object that we're supposed to be focusing on being some kind of sexual or attractive product for our desire if we are women. And so that's the difference. And the difference also is that male characters, because most of these games are made by men for men, it's that the male characters aren't meant to be sexualized. That's the big difference. Batman standing there all buff and ripped and stuff like that is not meant to be hypersexualized. It's meant to promote different ideas, and that's the difference. And it might seem like a nuanced difference, but that's because it is a little nuanced. That's a different topic that's separate from it, which is that are we creating unreasonable expectations for male imagery, male ideas, and stuff like that? But the difference here is that the Rocksteady stuff is involving women's ideas about women being pushed out, right? So if the equivalent to that would be if a bunch of women were making a game and they hypersexualized a man in it, and a man was like, well, I don't think that men would dress like that, or men would act like that way. And the women said, well, we don't care about your opinion.
Yeah, that'd be the
right?
opposite scenario. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I strongly encourage, if you guys aren't familiar with the idea of male gaze, to look it up, because once you're aware of the idea of male gaze, every time you watch a movie, every time you play a game, read a comic, or anything like that, you will notice it. And I'm not talking. And the game industry is not the only one that has a problem with this. The comics industry is absolutely littered with shit like this.
Hmm.
The comics industry is absolutely littered with stuff like this. So, but yeah, I. Any other comments on that?
No, no. I think we've covered it. I guess we're just more just talking about the discussion of like just just Rocksteady just being, I guess, dogs in a way. Hence the Chili Dog
Yeah.
cast, because we had to talk about spicy topics and dog the idiots of the industry as well.
So as a wrap up to that discussion, Rocksteady did kind of respond, quote unquote, to it. I won't read their actual response, but they held, as soon as this memo was leaked to the Guardian, they had their first ever hands-on meeting with everyone in the company to discuss sexual harassment only after the memo was leaked.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an idea of what's going on with it. But yeah, if that's it with that topic, and we'll, at the end, if you guys don't know, at the end of the podcast, we'll have kind of a Q&A. If you guys want to bring up anything, especially any questions that we missed, we'll talk about them.
Absolutely, because yeah, we want to promote discussion. Obviously, we got a few topics to talk about, so we always want to keep the show moving as well between each topic, and then and then at the end we'll happily do a Q&A to go through all this stuff. But yeah, Broken Crow,
Absolutely.
thanks for saying that. Appreciate talking about that. Did you want to go into a scrub of the week, or do you want to talk about another news story quickly? Something that's a bit more shorter.
Um, let's see.
Because that
Let's see. So
Ubisoft digital one.
yeah, I'll quickly bring this up.
All
So
right.
if you guys don't know, so Ubisoft has kind of silently made the announcement, and I'll go ahead. I'll do this.
All right, I'll read. I'll tell you what happened. Basically, so anyone that's pre-ordered Assassin's Creed Valhalla and a few other games as well. So obviously, usually when you buy your games, you get the disc if you pre-order it. They've changed it so they've changed it so that it's an upgrade to a digital copy of the disc. Now, as a consumer, like I prefer physical, some prefer digital. That is fine. I don't not arguing that. But if you're gonna buy a collector's edition and you want that disc, and then they're going to change it to a digital copy, that's kind of a dog act. And you should, and to say the word upgrade is just like, well, they're just saving money at the end of the day. It's not an upgrade to you; it's an upgrade to them, because they're the ones that get the benefit of, like, them not spending the money to deliver you a disc, to spend the printing costs and whatnot. And yeah, like, look, there's nothing wrong with digital world. I've made problems with the digital industry because sometimes games do disappear off the market and there's no way of getting it. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World
PT.
is PT. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World are the biggest examples. So I think this can cause some damage in the gaming industry. Look, a game as big as that, it's not going to disappear ever. But it's not. As a consumer, it's not right to the consumer to and like, if you're going to change the terms and conditions of sale, you need to give something to the customer to make up for it. Saying an upgrading to digital is not an upgrade. It's not. It's not. It's you're saving money. So give me something. They're going to sweeten the deal or something.
Yeah, so just to kind of elaborate on what it is. So basically, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, and Watch Dogs Legion, if you buy the collector's edition for Xbox only, so this is only for Xbox,
Oh, I didn't
and
know that.
only
Oh.
outside of, yeah, so only, so basically, the digit, so okay, for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, and Watch Dogs Legion, for Xbox copies only, and only outside of North America, you will not get a physical game. You will get a digital code. So it's just such a, and they haven't given a reason for why they're doing it.
We just gave
It's
the reason just
so,
then. I saved them the time. That's the reason. Saving money.
yeah, it's just so, it's such a bizarre thing. Well, it's bizarre that it's specifically Xbox and specifically outside of North America. So it
Yeah.
makes me wonder what the reasons are, because So then it implies that in North America, either Xbox or PS5 or PS4 or whatever, when you get the special edition, you'll get the actual disc, right? It's just so bizarre that it's like outside of that. It's very specific, and it makes me wonder what the reasons are.
Yeah, it's just
I,
look, at the end of the day, I still think it comes down to cost cutting. Just trying to that's it. I can't think of anything else. Just cost cutting. What else?
yeah.
Unless someone else can think of a better reason. But look, but have they given the consumer the opportunity to cancel, or do they start to keep? Do they still go on the pre-order?
I'm assuming you can, but it's like, I don't know. I don't buy collector's editions really, so, and I don't buy day one either. So
Yeah. But like,
this doesn't really affect me. But like, I just don't. It's just so like I don't even get it. Like, why even buy the collector's edition at that point?
Yeah, I
You know
know.
what I mean? Why buy? You're
Nope.
buying everything else physical except the actual game itself,
You might as well just
right? And
have the packaging as that. Let's just buy the statue and the art book separately, whatever it is. Um,
yeah, it's I just don't get
like
it,
I like to say,
honestly.
I'd be pissed off if I was playing From Software games and you don't get the if I didn't get the game, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely. And generally, I prefer to buy physical personally because of what you said. Just like a lack of trust that digital will still be there, so to speak. Or as just like a weird example, for example, let's say soon, let's say in the near future, they cut off server access to the PS Store for my PS3, right?
Yeah,
And I bought a game a while ago digitally for PS3, deleted it, and now I want to download it again. I don't have that option to do it. So that product no longer belongs to me anymore,
correct. Yeah,
right? I've spent my money on it and I've lost it now. So I'm personally I prefer physical regardless.
yeah. For that reason.
Right, exactly. But it's just this article just struck me because it's so specific,
Yeah, like
right?
poor Xbox users.
Yeah, why Xbox users? Why outside of North America? So it just don't have any answers. I can't even hypothesize other than what you said, which is money. But like it's just bizarre more than
Actually, but you
anything.
know, if it's for money, why didn't they do it for PS4 as well? That's what doesn't make sense either.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So why is it not for PS4 as well then? If it's because this article then insinuates that if you're in Australia, for example, and you buy the collector's edition of Far Cry
I'm
6
from
for some
Australia.
reason, what? No.
I'm from Australia,
Uh,
so I can't buy Far Cry and get my disc.
so let's say for some reason you like sustain a head injury and you want to buy Assassin's Creed Valhalla collector's edition,
Yeah, that does
right?
happen.
But you buy it for PS4 and you get the physical edition, but your friend who has it for Xbox does not get the physical edition. It's just I'm curious what the reasoning is, and I can't even think of a reasoning
And like
because it's just so specific and weird.
it's just like, why is no one talking about it? It's like, because this is what happened. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this. Do you know games had a thing called hold on, you guys ready? Instruction manuals. So the PS3 was like the last decade of like, sorry, last generation of gaming, PS3 and 360, where the game had an instruction manual. Now I could tell the writing was on the wall. EA instruction manuals always just had the controls. There's 4 pages. I'm like, all right, these guys are being lazy. But like, Konami used to do good manuals. Capcom, SquareSoft, like Final Fantasy instruction manuals, always like beefy, had like a lot of information in it. And it's cool. You get to learn about the character in that. And you could tell EA was cost cutting. Ubisoft started cost cutting. So did Activision. And then eventually, and then when you got to the PS4, boom, instruction manuals just disappeared. So like you're paying, the game price is still the same, but you're getting less of a product. Then they've started doing digital instruction manuals. It's just like that's just the starting of that, like the whole no instruction manual. And now it's soon there's gonna be no discs now. It's like there's like spoon feeding us like a negative, not negative, like spoon feeding us, like taking away what we get for, I guess, the 60. I hate using the $60 example, but the $60 example for buying a game. So effectively, you're getting less and less. So these developers, they are making way more profit because they're spending less money on printing out instruction manual. Soon going to be making more profit because they're spending less money on printing out a disc. Soon they're probably going to spend less money printing out an actual case with a slick inside of it. It's just going to be digital only. So what happens there? And I hope this profits come back to us to make the game better. But we all know what's going to happen. I'm being cynical here. It's not. It's just going to go straight to the
No, and
CEO.
here's a common refrain that I hear is that like, oh, games are expensive. Games should actually be going up in price and all this stuff, and it's just not true. The gaming industry is making more money now than they have ever, especially with the pandemic. I was reading another article about this, and I don't have it up, so I apologize. I think it was Bloomberg had an article about how like they're just making. Oh, actually, I have it right here. Never mind. I'll link it in the chat as well. Basically, because of the pandemic and the fact that the film industry is pretty much dead and stuff like that, people are stuck at home. The gaming industry is making more money than they have ever made. It's more profitable and it's more lucrative than ever. And like there is no reason for game prices to go up. So what they're doing is they're cutting cost just to increase profit and revenue, right? It's not like they're doing us a favor by, and this is the thing, like I just don't understand people taking the side of game companies when it comes to stuff, right? I just don't get the idea of defending game companies when it comes to like cost cutting measures and shit like that. Like it's as like Jim Sterling says, it's not about making money, it's about making all of the money, right? It's not about like, oh, we want to make just as much profit as we did 10 years ago, so we're going to cut some costs here and there so we don't have to put the burden on the consumers. No, that's bullshit, right?
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about, no, how much profit can we get, right? It's about how much more profit can we get, how much more can we increase our revenue and our profits, right?
My issue, this is probably my last point. I got nothing else to add to it. I would have no problem with them doing all this stuff if the price was cheaper. So if I paid $100 Australian or $60 US and I got the disc, instruction manual, the case, I'll be happy. And if someone decided to go buy it digital and instead of paying $60, they got it for $40, and then I don't know, and Australian would be $80, and they get it cheaper because they don't get the other stuff, I'd be perfectly fine with that. I would happily pay the extra $20 because I want that. I'm an idiot. I'm a collector. I want that shit. So someone else who doesn't care about it, perfectly fine. But like they are what they're doing is they're trying to make what you just said, all the profit.
And here's the thing, and this is the last thing I'll add, is if they really cared about passing on the savings to consumers, why are digital games not cheaper?
Exactly, they're not. They're a ripoff.
They're not cheaper, right? It's not about cost saving, right? It's not about passing on savings to consumers or anything like that. That's horseshit, right? It's when I buy Yakuza 7 at the end of the year, if I buy it digitally or if I buy it physically, they're going to cost the same.
Yeah.
Right? They're saving money, quote unquote, by not having to print and do all this other stuff with the digital, but they're not passing that savings on to me. So the idea that it's about passing on savings to consumers and stuff like that, it's bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that. It's about them making all of the money they can.
Absolutely.
But, all right. Last news topic I wanted to bring up. Not a whole lot to talk about. This is going to be more just kind of a fun, kind of hypothetical discussion.
Oh, fun.
Is
I forgot what that is.
So basically, in a company called Sega said that they were pleasantly surprised
Sega
by how well Persona 4 sold on PC. They did not expect it to sell as well as it did on Steam.
Oh, my head hurts when people say shit like that.
So because of that, Sega is now is looking back at some of their IPs and stuff that have not been ported to PC, and they're going to try to start doing it more.
Good.
Good. Yes. Okay. So here's the question: what games do you want to see them port?
Panzer Dragoon. Done.
Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah, Panzer Dragoon.
Well, so they can't do what's the one the
Yeah,
one that everyone
Saga. Yeah. So if you guys don't
they
know,
can't do Saga.
back to game preservation. Oh, actually, I didn't talk about game preservation, but let's just say Sega lost the source code to Panzer Dragoon Saga, so you can't. They can't. They don't have the rights to it. They've lost it. They can't. There's no digital code of it or anything. So yeah, this is why it's important to make sure to maintain preserve physical copies until people fix the way to preserve everything online if they want to go down that road. But yeah, I guess Sega games, yeah, Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2. Knights is already on PC, so that's fine. We can skip Knights. I think Jet Set Radio is also on PC, isn't it? Radio and Future.
Jet Set Radio is, but not Future.
We'll
Future's not on PC.
Put Future on there. Oh, it was on that game Otorgi. It was like an Xbox exclusive Sega game made by From Software. Yeah, put both Otorgi games on there. And what else do I want on Sega? Not Sonic.
Well, here's the no more, please no more Sonic.
No more Sonic.
So here's the ones that I looked at, like their list of game series that they owned and found ones that aren't on PC yet.
Yeah.
Skies of Arcadia.
Oh my god. Don't make me.
That's the one that I think most people want to come to PC, is Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great RPG.
Bayonetta 2.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 2 is still not on PC. Mocha said the original Persona trilogy. Yep, so Persona and Shin Megami Tensei.
Does Sega own them? The rights to it or something? Oh. I thought Atlas owned it. How does it work?
I think they have publishing rights, so I think that they can publish it on whatever platforms they want. The first Condemned game, the Xbox game.
Yes, that was a good game.
Billy Hatcher, the GameCube game.
Yeah. Billy Hatcher in the Wikipedia. Yep.
Yep. Jet Set Radio Future, I already mentioned. And then the other one is the Sakura Wars series that's apparently very popular. I don't know anything about it, but that's those are the main ones that I looked up. And I don't know if there's other ones that like because we're not talking necessarily about like Genesis games, because you can get the Sega Genesis collection.
Yeah, they're not,
Steam.
And they're pretty in depth as well. It's just the PS2 and the PS3 generations, whatever you want to call that gen.
Yeah, it's the previous two generations and Dreamcast as well.
Oh yeah, and Saturn as well was very neglected.
And
too.
Saturn, yep, exactly. Yeah. Games that like just have not seen a PC port yet. So that's something maybe we can discuss later during the Q&A and stuff. But that's kind of it. I guess I'm surprised that Sega was surprised.
I know,
that
right?
Persona 4 Golden sold so well on PC.
Like, I'd buy Persona 4 Golden tomorrow if I could play on PS4, because the only way to play it for me to get trophies is on the PS Vita. So annoying. Who does that?
Yeah.
Sega does. Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Yeah, focus more on porting these
classics,
good old games, and no more Shenmue games, please. No more fucking Shenmue games.
Or Sonic.
Or Sonic. No more Shenmue or Sonic, please.
Yeah, we're good. All right. Moving on to our next section.
Yes, please.
So this is our next section, guys, which we're really excited about talking about. It's Scrub of the Week. So hold up. So Scrub of the Week, guys. Well, as we all know,
Scrub of the Week.
We want no scrubs in our lives. So basically, this section is just dedicated to talking about the idiots that we've encountered in our lives, whether it be on Twitch, gaming industry, or vice versa, anywhere else. Now, our Scrub of the Week is actually about a tweet from a very famous partner streamer. I never heard of Papi Eric, but he put out a really good tweet. I don't know if you got the tweet in front of you, Pretzel, if you want to read it out.
I already put it up, yep.
Oh, too fast.
Yeah, I'll read it up. So, Papi Eric, I don't know if you guys know him.
He's a partner streamer, in case you don't know.
His tweet said, unpopular opinion. I'm just going to go ahead and call you out. Anytime anyone says unpopular opinion, it's not an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, I agree with
that. Streamers who convince every second supporter to stream without mentioning how hard the job is or how mentally crushing the job is are doing way more damage to the community than good, especially ones who have nearly zero intention of watching said person. Okay? So it's a pretty succinct, short tweet, but I think that it definitely struck a chord with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um,
So obviously it's not a lot of people have been feeling that way. They just didn't want to say it.
right. So this kind of brings up our scrub of the week, which is people that encourage others to stream
Without
simply
saying.
because they don't want to be honest about it. Um, I don't know if you want to elaborate on it more.
Yeah, absolutely. This goes back to toxic positivity and that. Everyone's so like kumbaya, like everything's good, everything's positive, everything's you just be positive, just do the thing and you'll be successful. Um, in regards to any self employment type of role, whether you're being an artist, content creator, Twitch streamer, musician, it is one of the hardest things ever because your income is based upon, I guess, how good you are and how good you are making an item that someone wants to purchase. And if you're just, and I'm just talking about people who actually want to make Twitch something, and or just anything. A lot of people think all you need is just a webcam, a PC, a capture card, a TV, a monitor, whatever, internet, and then there you go. That's it, and you're just done. Just hit the on button, and you got the generic advice: be consistent. What's the generic advice? Be consistent. Have a
Don't play oversaturated games
and have a schedule. All right,
and have a schedule.
that is the bare minimum. And you know what? That bare minimum, yeah, it's actually decent advice, but they missed out all the other advice. So it's super important um to talk about the negatives of streaming, the negatives of anything. Like it's just ridiculous, and I've seen it so many times. I watch people's streams and I don't want to call out people's names, but the amount of times someone goes, I'm thinking about streaming, what do you think I should do? And people's like, you should totally stream. And like
Mm-hmm.
I've got this stance where my job is to convince people to not stream. Like I've some people have actually privately messaged me and said, oh, I'm thinking about streaming, what do you think? I say don't do it, just don't. And then
Mm-hmm.
after I give them all the advice of why they shouldn't do it, if they still want to try, at least I've warned them. And but like every single person I've talked to that's asked me if they want to stream, they've already said, oh, okay. Like they just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yeah.
I've been in a self-employed role before. I worked as a mortgage broker briefly, and the company I worked at, they blew smoke up my ass. They said like, we'll get you leads, you'll get sales, you'll make X amount of dollars per commission and all that. I got shit. I like it
Mm-hmm.
almost like bankrupted me. It was bad. And and yeah, like I wish they just didn't blow smoke on my ass. They were clearly just trying to make money in their own way. I'm not going to go into that, but to anyone who wants to stream, like the first question I always ask is why do you want to do it? Because if their first response is I saw someone doing it, it looks easy, it looks fun, and I make money, then your heart's not in the right place. I stream for my personal reason for streaming is I don't fit in the corporate world. I'm pretty passionate about games. It is literally the thing I think about the most in the world. But you know what? I still got to accept the responsibility that I might not even make it. I might maybe in 3 years' time I might still be in the same level and I'll be nowhere. And if that's the case, or I'll have to try something else. Um, but like I'm mentally strong. Like I've had some bad months. I had a bad month 2 months ago, I think technically now. Um, but like I'm pretty strong and I'm pretty good at dealing with like negative emotions. But that's me. The average person
Mm-hmm.
is horrible at dealing with that. Like people crumble when something bad happens to them. It's such a strong mental game. If your mind is
Mm-hmm.
weak and you're there just to make money, to grow, and you think it's easy and you don't see how much work people put into it. I work a full-time job and I full-time stream. That's more hours than the average person would even do if they're unemployed and doing streaming themselves. I still do way more than the average person. And you know what? I put a lot of work in. I'm still not even close to be able to retire and call it as a job. And like I
Mm-hmm.
say to people, if you want to be a streamer, go for it, but you have to be better than me. And if you're not better than me,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna. I've already set the bar this high, but you know what? My bar that I've set up is not even high enough to even get to that level where I'm a partner, where I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
views, I'm making bank. I'm not even at that level. So if you're streaming and you're not even close to being better than me in my category, because I'm not going to compare because different streams categories are a bit different. But if you're not going to beat me, then and you're not going to even try to be better than me, or at least be unique in your own way, like what's the point? Like why are you doing it?
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong being a viewer, and there's nothing wrong with finding your own passion. Everyone thinks the streaming is the ultimate end goal. There's so many creative jobs out there that you can do that might be more suitable for your skill set, or there might be that employed role that might be suited to your skill set that you just got to try and work it out. And I'm happy if someone wants to message me and wants me to actually ask them questions to go to the nitty gritty of why someone what is something that drives someone to do something. I'd absolutely love to talk. I love to have that discussion. I think everyone's got. I truly believe everyone in this channel has a skill that either they know they exist or they don't know it exists, and that if they just hone in on it, they could find the true happiness that they're looking for. Um, and yeah, I don't know if you want to add something to that, Pretzel. Pretzel? Oh no, don't tell me disconnected. Oh, guys, have we got technical faults? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, damn it. I'll just try and get Pretzel back on call. I wonder if his internet's okay. F. No, he's just seeing very serious. Pretzel went to the bathroom. Damn. I'll just give him a second. Can someone just message him? You really need that poop. I can hear you. Okay. Oh no, you're back, Pretzel. Your camera's back. All right, cool.
I'm back. Okay, good.
Yeah, sweet. All right.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It happens.
Yeah. So a couple of things. So yeah, what I see happening when I see people encouraging others to stream, but let's just use the example, right? The easy example. Someone is a dedicated viewer and to a streamer, and they really like their content. They're really enjoying being part of the community, and they ask that streamer, "Hey, I'm thinking about streaming or whatever," right? The question is, does that streamer have an obligation
Support them.
to support? Well, so yeah, a few different things here. One, do they have an obligation to support them? Number two, do they have an obligation to be honest with them? Or so here's my problem when it comes to what Poppy's talking about. Not with Poppy's opinion, but just the topic and the conversation in general. So it seems to me when people do this, where they encourage people to stream without really giving them the
bad sides,
kind of the honest talk about it, right? It seems like that streamer is avoiding hard conversation, right? They're avoiding hard conversations because they want to, they just don't want to be honest about it, right? They don't want to say like how much time and stress and mental energy goes into things, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like a lot of streamers might even say like, oh, I don't, it's not that bad. I don't think about it that way, or it's not, or they might, they might appear like there's not a whole lot of mental energy and effort that goes into it, right?
Yeah.
But there is, absolutely is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I guess one of the things is like the one that really annoys me the most is people that encourage others to stream and aren't willing to have the hard talk about it, right? And aren't willing to give feedback. Aren't willing to give
real feedback.
Real critical, honest feedback, right? And I don't know. Like it's just.
I can interject.
Yeah, no, please go ahead.
Yeah, so if you don't have an honest conversation with someone, I'm a big believer in feedback. All right, how are you meant to grow? Like if you are making a crap product that no one wants to buy, the market dictates. We're talking about capitalism here. The market dictates whether you're good or not, in a way. So if you're making
Mhm.
something and you're not entertaining, but no one's there to watch you, you don't know if you're being good or not. You just don't know if it's just that, you're just undiscoverable, whatnot. So if someone, but you've got some of these streamers, right, that encourage everyone to stream because they don't want to seem negative. A lot of people just too, a lot of people too scared to say no to people, and like a very famous person, and I don't like saying his name because I don't think he's a good president, but Donald Trump, he said your yeses mean nothing if you can't say no, and I feel like people just don't want to hear the word no, and like
Mhm.
people are just so trapped in this like mindset of like everything's positive, 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 positive. We need to like have an honest conversation. If you see someone who's not very good at streaming, offer them advice. Be like, hey, I don't think you're. Oh, that sounds horrible. I I feel like you could do this and that. Have you ever tried doing this and that? Stuff like that. Not don't talk about games. Don't even talk about game selection. Don't tell them to play medieval bridge constructor. Make something like, I don't know, your energy's low, or you seem a bit sad, or and maybe do it privately. Don't do it while they're streaming. That's a bit. It's a bit of a. It's kind of tough. Some people when they get asked a question like that, it can be a bit tough. Um. So so bro, I'm laughing at Broken Crow's comment that
Oh
I'm
no,
not
it's fine.
entertaining it. I'm just being less handsome. All right, I'll just
Well,
I
so
don't know.
here's the thing. Like, if people don't know, Fox and I will talk like every week or two, just kind of a quick conversation. He and I give each other feedback all the time,
Yeah,
and
we don't blow smoke.
we
I don't.
on
Have you has your butt
yeah,
ever been kissed?
no, absolutely not. Well,
Yeah.
yes, but more in a joking way. Um, I know that there's some genuineness hidden in there somewhere, but like I've had hard conversations with Fox and stuff.
Yeah.
I've had hard conversations with other people. Um, it's hard, and I'm not going to say that it's easy to give honest feedback.
No, it's
It's
not.
not easy to feel like you're disappointing someone, or that they're going to be disappointed in what you have to say, or that you don't necessarily have an answer, right? But it's better than pretending like everything is okay.
Yeah.
And that or the worst is that, like, what they're doing wrong, but you
Yeah.
just aren't willing to tell them what they're doing wrong because
Yeah.
you're afraid of hurting their feelings, or
Correct.
you're afraid of how you'll come across. And it's just dishonest. It's just dishonest. And so going back to the idea that, like, it's other streamers encouraging other people to stream without giving them kind of the honest talk about it, right? It's the one thing I tell everyone when it comes to streaming is you are not entitled to anyone's view. You're
No.
not entitled to anyone's view at all. You have to earn it.
Correct.
Um, and this includes the people that are encouraging you to stream, right? So if you're a member of a community and a long member of a community, and you talk to that person and they say, hey, you should, and you ask them if you should stream, and they say, yeah, you should. You're not entitled to their view,
Mm.
right?
No.
You're not entitled to it, right? You're not entitled just because you're streaming for everyone else that you've supported for them to support you, right?
Correct.
And I see this a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you've seen it. Everyone's seen it, right?
Yeah.
Where someone decides to start streaming that have been part of a bunch of other communities, and you can tell that there's this implicit expectation that everyone that they've been supporting should support them back,
Mm.
right? Regardless of how they're doing, what they're playing, how their content is, their personality, or whatever, right? And then they get pissy that they don't support them. And then they start dropping from those communities, right?
Yeah.
And it just becomes very, very on the nose, and very
It's a
it
transactional
becomes very
relationship.
yeah, it becomes very transparent that it's a transactional relationship, right?
Mm.
And that's why, like, I know, Fox, that you sub and you watch people that don't necessarily sub and watch to you. I do the same thing too,
Yeah.
right? It's not a give and take kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
No one's entitled to it.
There's like one.
And
There's one streamer, and like dare I say, I male simp him. He's a male. He's not a woman. I like his shit. I genuinely like his content. He comes to my stream like maybe once in a while, says like a few things, and he disappears. But I like watching him. and I want to support him. And like, I don't expect him. I didn't even expect him to come to my stream. He shouts me out, but I don't even care. Like, he's never. His viewers don't ever come to my stream. I don't. And I don't care. I don't expect that. I just generally, when I'm at work, I watch this. I watch this man, and I like his stuff, and I've given him money,
Mm-hmm.
and I've subscribed to him. I like him. Simple as that. I
Mm-hmm.
believe in his stuff, and like my subs, like I'm subbed to 19 channels at the moment, and like there's probably maybe like another five more I'd like to sub to. Um, but yeah, like there's a few, like there's just so much, people just keep subbing and subbing, and like it's kind of like a freaking like a it's almost like a network marketing pyramid scheme, where it's just like this guy views that guy, which views that guy, which then it's just kind of like a web of like interconnectivity, and it's just like there's always like viewer overlap, but then you have to like support that streamer, support who's that streamer. It's just like it's just insane. Papier, actually, now I think about it, now it's two streamers. Thanks for reminding Slappy Jack. Slappy Jack's one of them, and he doesn't like my stuff. I'm joking, Slappy Jack. And so it's just like a web of like viewers that we're all just like intercorrelated and stuff like that, and like it's just gonna
It's not,
it's not a
but it's not
sustainable
even.
model. It's not
But here's the
sustainable.
thing: it's not just viewers, though. It's streamers watching other streamers supporting other streamers, and that's not sustainable,
It's
right?
not.
That's the problem, right? Is that it's expecting other streamers to watch you, and that's just not sustainable, and it's not reasonable, right? Um, Especially the bigger you grow and the more people that are involved in your community, you just don't have the time,
Yeah.
right?
Cass made a
Um,
good point that Twitch needs more viewers than it needs streamers. Yes.
exactly, absolutely. And there, so in the military, there's this idea that you learn how to be a leader, but you also learn before you reach like leadership roles how to be a follower,
Mm.
right? And just like there's aspects of being a good leader, there are aspects of being a good follower as well,
Mm.
right? And it's a mutual relationship that in order to be a good leader, you have to have good followers. To be a good follower, you have to have a good leader, right? And I look at Twitch the same way, that in order to have good streamers, you need good viewers and you need exclusive viewers, right? Just
Yeah.
like you can't have everyone trying to lead at the same time, right? You can't have just a bunch of streamers streaming and watching each other and supporting each other. It's just not sustainable. And it's not it's just like a false it's just like it's false numbers, it's false I don't know. It's it's something that I know I personally struggle with um when it comes to that is trying to find it's so hard to find people that are just viewers and are okay with just being viewers because it's only a matter of time before they decide that they want to start streaming. It's inevitable for most people.
It comes across everyone's brain at one point. That looks
It comes
easy.
across everyone's brain.
That looks
Yeah, it
easy.
looks
I
easy.
can do it.
Well, not only does it look easy, not only does it look like I can do it, but it's also the implicit idea that I think that people have is that I've supported this streamer, so when I start streaming, they'll support me,
Mm.
right? And I think that there's that implicit idea that people have. And if you have that, I'm going to tell you right now, again. So I think a good way to wrap this up, if you want to start wrapping up this idea,
Yeah.
um, if someone came to you and said, "I'm thinking about streaming," what would you say?
I would say first thing it says is don't, and then the next thing you'd be like, but what? And I'll be like, and I've already got the answer already ready. I was like, if you are mentally weak and you are ready to stream to zero people, and people and you're gonna remember, like, if zero people watching it, what's your brain gonna think? It's not gonna think, oh, it's because I'm a small person that no one can find me. Your brain's gonna go to the idea, I am crap. I am not worthy of a viewer, and that's, in a way, yeah, that's kind of right. Maybe you're just not entertaining, you're just not funny, you're not good at the game, whatever. That's it. But if someone doesn't realize that they're not good at that task, and they don't have that self-awareness of seeing that, then what happens is then they go into this tangent where their brain just goes and their self-worth just drops hard, so hard,
Mhm.
and then they just become depressed and increases, like, damage to their self-esteem, everything, where they could just be a happy viewer enjoying what they want to watch, and then they could find something that they're more passionate about that could help them. I'll give you, like, my biggest example is I used to make YouTube videos back in the day. I did okay, but I didn't, I never got I never even got a Google payout ever. So that's, you need to make $100 on Google. I did it for 3 years, didn't get anywhere, right? And one of my guys that I know, who's a top 10 most subscribed channel in Australia. So this is an advice from someone who's made it. Okay, so if you're not going to listen to his advice, then you're part of the problem. But he actually said, if you're making a product and no one's watching it and it's not growing, then maybe your product's not good enough. Like, it's just not good. Like, you need to work out what it is. And so anyway, so I was on YouTube, and then I switched to Twitch, and I started all over again, and like I was still figuring things out. Like, I knew I'm passionate about games. I knew about like, I'm like, I fucking love games so much. Like, you have no, I think about games every fucking day, and I was like, I needed to get these ideas out better. I needed to just work it on. And like, I watched my old recorded YouTube videos. They're a pass, but a pass is not good enough. A pass is a pass. And my old YouTube streams, they were actually really crap. Like, I actually thought I was doing okay at streaming on YouTube, but they weren't. If the chat was active, it was active, but I had 7 viewers at the time, 7 to 10 viewers. Um, but like, when I switched to Twitch, I started again from zero. None of my YouTube followers followed me to Twitch because they didn't like the platform. That's fine. Started from the bottom again. Networked with a few Australian streamers. But some people watched me and were like, you know what, I like your stuff. And I was like, all right. So I got like a bit of self confidence. And then slowly I started building like an audience. And it was when I think I only started feeling like I was a good enough streamer is when I first got my first ever sub. When someone literally was watching my channel, didn't even follow my channel, hit the subscribe button, hadn't even said hello. This was back in January. Hits that subscribe button, and then he hits the follow button. I'm like, who are you? Who are you? And he goes, dude, I was watching you for the first hour, man. You're fucking hilarious, man. You're hilarious. And that's when I was like, I'm at that level where I can get a complete stranger who's never seen me before to be like, this guy is good. I've That's when I started to feel like, okay, I'm starting to get there. But that was like, from starting my YouTube journey in 2016 to 2020 in January, when I started having some self belief that my content was good enough. That's 4 years, guys. Some people make it in YouTube in a year. Some people make it on Twitch in 6 months, whatever. That's 4 years of stuff. I didn't turn on the webcam and like, sometimes like, when I played Blasphemous again this year, I played Blasphemous last year, and that was when I thought my channel was doing okay. I had 17 viewers when I first played Blasphemous. When I replayed it again this year with the DLC, I had like 40 viewers, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, I felt so grateful. There you go, Starman. You are one of my strangers. Um, I felt so grateful that I went from 17 viewers to getting to show a brand new audience how great this game was, and I've come such a long way. And like, I'm super grateful. I'm very humbled by all the people that come to my channel and still come by and still enjoy my content. And I love the people that even, like, for example, subscribe to some channels, but they always hang out my stream more, or sometimes they like start to deviate, or I don't know. It's just um it's insane. It's like the most humbling feeling. So yeah, like gift subs. Like, there's, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of channels out there who have like heaps of subs just because there's one, whale. If you don't know what whale is a business, is in business terms, is a person that just drops a lot of cash on one person. They just support them. That's fine. That's their prerogative. But like, I feel more honored that I have people who genuinely subscribe on their own free will to my channel, that support me and think this guy is good. Like, that to me is the biggest
Mm-hmm.
honor. And like, from where I was this time last, what month are we? We're in August. Okay, so this time last year I was averaging like 8 viewers, and I think I had like maybe 20 subs. Let's just say I'm definitely way past that now. So I'm very grateful. But you know what? I'm still not a partner, so I still got more to go. I'm still, and you know what?
Hmm.
That's at the end of the day, I've put a lot of effort in. I'm still not a partner, so I got more to go. Got way more to go.
Yeah. Um, so to turn the question on myself, if
Hmm.
someone came to me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about streaming. What do you think?" I'll reiterate the first point I made. First one is you're not entitled to anyone's view, and that
Hmm.
includes mine.
Hmm.
I will only watch people if I actually think that they're entertaining. You know what I mean?
Correct.
I'll give people chances and I'll
So why do you
watch them
watch
a
me, by
bit.
the way?
Huh?
Why do you watch me then?
Oh, pity.
Oh, okay, cool.
Um, just
We should
pity.
talk about pity lurks.
Yeah, lots of pity lurks. Yep. Um, and it's just the god honest truth. There are some people that will watch and support people and pop into streams and hang into streams here and there, and they'll feel like they're everywhere, kind of thing, supporting everyone. And I'm not that way. I'm not that way, and most people are not that way.
Hmm.
Um, and
It's just that we're self-aware
so
enough to say it.
yeah, exactly. Um, so my first advice would be you're not entitled to anyone's view. Second, Poppy brought this up. Affiliate is a low barrier to entry.
Yeah. Super low.
Um, I know a lot of people celebrate when they get affiliate. I know I did too. But let's be honest, affiliate is a low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
And Twitch kind of does a disservice on this because they say, because you get to affiliate and then the next milestone is partner, right?
Yeah.
Getting to affiliate may seem like a 5K, but going from affiliate to partner or even just sustainable is like a fucking round the world trip
Yeah.
in relation to getting affiliate, right? Um, and it honestly comes down to, are you entertaining and can you entertain people, right?
Yeah.
And here's the god honest truth: if you don't have an entertaining personality, if you don't have if you're not able to make people laugh, make people think, if you're not able to make people
Go. Oh
feel
wow.
things or have conversations,
Hmm.
then honestly you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Either you need to either you need to be introspective and honest with yourself that it's just not who you are, and that's not, um and this is all within the context of, I want to stream because I want to be successful and all this other stuff, right?
Hmm.
If you just want to stream because you're going to be playing those games anyways, and you might as well stream it and you don't care about anything else, which I don't believe that's the case. I think everyone, even if they say, "Oh, I'm just streaming for fun and I'm going to be playing them anyways, and I'm
I
going to
only
be
know
streaming it."
one person that says I'm streaming for fun. I truly believe them. Only one person.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not gonna say their name but yeah, I've only ever met one, and because I even gave him advice to get his stream better because I genuinely thought he's actually entertaining enough to actually. I even said to him, I don't think you can become partner, but hey, $100 a month is pretty cool. Would you take it? He's like, yeah, I'll take it. I was like, I think I could get you to that level, and
Hmm.
but like but he said, I don't really care, and I could tell he doesn't care. But he's
Hmm.
put a little bit more effort in, and but yeah, like he already knows he doesn't even want to do it. He just literally just does it as a way to talk to his friends around
Hmm.
the world. So, and I think that's fine. But he's the
But
exception.
yeah, and so that's what I was going to say.
Hmm.
Everyone that's doing it, you can look in yourself and you can be introspective and you can know, right? You can sit there and you're the only one that knows. You can say, "Oh, I don't care about numbers. I don't care about subs. I don't care about all that. I'm just doing it for fun."
Hmm.
You know when your stream's off if you're looking at Twitch tracker and checking your numbers and wondering, what can I do
And checking that
to
email
increase those
from
numbers?
that
Or asking
Streamlabs,
yourself, why are more people not watching me? Right?
or like
Right, exactly.
someone hits that follow button and
Exactly.
they don't come back the next day, or like yeah,
Right,
that's
exactly, right?
then you're lying to yourself.
You're absolutely lying to yourself. And to tie it back into what Poppy's thing is, it's a lie that's perpetuated by other streamers. It's a lie that's perpetuated by other streamers that aren't willing to be honest, right? And this is the honest conversation. Again, you're not entitled to anyone's view. People will only watch you if you're entertaining, right? If you're providing something that they're willing to go out of their way to watch.
Correct.
Right? 2, part of it, a huge chunk of it comes down to your personality. It just comes down to your personality, right? Either you have a personality that attracts a lot of people or doesn't, right? That's my opinion. If you don't have an interesting personality, if you don't have an interesting way of interacting with people, there's just no way of, like, there's no game selection. There's no overlay that's going to fix that, right?
It's all about that overlay, babe. But to be fair, this overlay is fucking sweet. I love it.
Yeah, this overlay is the exception.
Yeah.
But it ultimately does come down to just personality and whether people are attracted to your personality or not. No one's entitled to watch you. You're not entitled to anyone's view. You're not entitled to anyone's sub. If someone is watching you versus others at the same time, that means you're doing something right. If someone's watching someone else other than you, then something needs to change, right? Yeah. It's not just that. That would be my kind of general advice. And also just being honest with yourself and being honest with, like, I mean, I look at numbers. Anyone that takes this seriously is looking at their number.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And is
looking at your numbers and is asking, what can I do better? What am I doing wrong? Right. And it's being willing to criticize yourself and being willing to be introspective and to find people that are willing to give you feedback. Right.
Yeah. Feedback.
Right.
The rarest thing in the world.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you can do everything right and you still won't succeed. You can do absolutely everything right and you still won't succeed.
Correct.
There's always that possibility. So, yeah. So our scrub of the week, people that encourage people to stream, that aren't willing to have honest conversations and perpetuate this idea that it's a risk-free endeavor. Because here's the risk. The risk is your time, your mental health, your self-worth. What other risks are there? It's the non-tangible risks.
Yeah. I get, like, the webcam and the capture card and the PC, that's whatever, but yeah, that's the non-tangible risk is your mental well-being.
Because here's the thing, all that money you could spend on all of that shit, right? On a capture card, on a webcam and all that stuff. Number one, you could be spending that on games. Number two, you could be spending that money on supporting streamers that you already like.
Well, number three, you could be finding that specific hobby that might be better suited to you if that's what you want to do. Like, if you want to be the self-employed role of, like, doing something, creating something out of love, that's something you're wasting time on a different endeavor that could be more suitable for you.
Trixie Fox says, I think it's different for the makers and crafting category, to be honest. I fully encourage people sharing their craft and creativity streaming. I think that is a different thing entirely.
Yeah, I think
Trixie, we're talking specifically about gaming.
Like the variety streamer / I guess the one game streamer, if you're just professional, whatever what do you want to call a multiplayer streamer guy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, just more in the game spectrum than the creating and IRL and the just chatting and stuff like that. It's too easy to attach your direct self-worth as a person to your Twitch numbers. That's true. Yeah, Cass. So you said that it's too easy to attach your direct self-worth as a person to your Twitch numbers. That's true. Here's the thing, though. If you're trying to take streaming seriously, those numbers are fucking important. Right? Yeah. Those numbers are validation. Right? Those numbers mean things to Twitch, to sponsors, to your own revenue. So you can't completely dissociate yourself from the numbers. The numbers are important, right? You have to go based off of numbers. Like Fox was talking about, and I'll talk about it now. Fox was talking about earlier in his stream that, like, Fridays are bad days, like just numbers are low, right? You have to use those numbers to shape ideas and to uh, shape what you're doing. My Fridays are the same thing, and I don't know what the reason is, but like Fridays are bad for me as well, right? If I didn't care about numbers, or if I attach self-worth to numbers, it's not even about self-worth. It's about making honest, educated decisions, right? It's a business. It is a business, right? Even if you're, unless you are 100% honest and committed to saying that this is just for fun, and I honestly don't care about the numbers, and you actually don't look at the numbers and don't care, then it is a business, right? It's a business in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And you're going to be working off of those numbers, and you're going to be making decisions based on those numbers. Using it as a personal attack on how you are is right. So Cass, where's the delineation? How many people are able to make that distinction between this is a business, this is data that I can use to drive my business, and this is data that I can use to value myself, right? How many people can actually put a very distinct and explicit line between the two and compartmentalize between the two? That's the problem. That's a big problem, is people think they can, but they can't, right? And anyone that does stream, or has thought about streaming, or has tried streaming, will tell you they look at the numbers. The numbers do mean something.
Poppy Eric's comment just made me laugh then. If I were a car manufacturer, I would ignore target numbers because they make me feel bad.
But yeah.
True.
So any other additional comments on that, or any
no, I think
chat message?
No, I think we've covered everything. Obviously, guys, if you want to keep talking about it, we'll do a Q&A at the end anyway, so
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, back to toxic what Tom just said, toxic positivity. There's nothing wrong with feeling bad, but there is something wrong with feeling 100% happy all the time, because it's not sustainable. No. Everything's important. Everything's important. All right, moving on. So, all right. So I guess our last topic of the question. So this is just like, because this is the episode 0 of the podcast. This last segment is going to be called Fandom of the Week. So first things first, we're gonna just, because this is episode 0, I guess we're just going to talk about fandoms in general. So let's just play that intro. All right, so Fandom of the Week. This is, I guess this is like my idea in the podcast, because like I guess streaming a lot, I've dealt with so many different fandoms, and I hate fandoms. I hate the word fan boy is like that's toxic to me. I hate fanboys. I cannot stand them. They've ruined so many gaming's things for me. But so I guess this is just a general topic, just so we start at episode 0 with just a basic thingo, and then hopefully from then on, every fortnight, if we do this every fortnight, a week, I don't know how often we're going to do it, we can talk about a new fandom, and then just talk about dumb stuff people have said in that fandom, or maybe dumb stuff they've done to dictate business decisions, or just dumb hypocritical stuff we've done. So no, don't be a Fox fanboy. You don't want to be a fanboy for me. All right, so I guess so this is the broad question for fandoms. How can fandoms turn you away from a game, or how they bring you into a game? So I guess this question's like, I guess for me, me and Pretzel can start the discussion, and then you guys can just join in, like, positive experiences, negative experiences with fandoms, and then hopefully if this becomes a big thing, every fortnight we'll talk about specific fandoms. So we got the Final Fantasy fandoms, Zelda, Animal Crossing, I don't know,
Dark Souls.
What's another?
Hollow Knight, Cuphead.
Oh, Hollow Knight! I can't wait to rip into those fuckers. Hollow Knight, Cuphead. There's plenty of fandoms out there, so it'll be just fun to talk about all the dumb stuff people have said. Anyway, so I guess the fandoms. Has a fandom ever brought you to try a game out, Pretzel?
Has a fandom ever brought me to try a game?
Yeah.
Not really. And I was the one that wrote this question. And the first part of it was, how can fandoms push you away from a game?
Yeah.
And I decided, well, let me just add the opposite onto
Yeah.
it, which is like, how can a fandom bring you into a game, right? And I did it more of just like covering all the bases. But ever since I wrote that about a week ago, I've been trying to think, and I
Yeah.
just cannot think of fandoms bringing me into a game. Um, I've seen examples watching other people's streams of good fandom. So I remember watching Slappy play Celeste, and
I
maybe
love Slappy
Slappy
Jack. Great streamer.
will, yeah, great streamer. Maybe Slappy will disagree with me, but I remember watching him play like the Seasides in Celeste, and the Celeste fans are the people that kind of knew the game inside and out. When he was playing it, they were, number one, super supportive. Number two, they were helping him out, but not being backseating. So an
Mm.
example would be, he would be on a level and he's like, oh, I have no idea how I'm going to do this, right? And they would give very nice, simple, and like clues, right? They would say something like, hey, just remember that you can do this ability.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they would let him figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that's an example, I think, of a good fan, especially on Twitch. I think that we're mostly specifically talking about like fandoms on Twitch.
Yeah.
But like the Celeste community from when I was watching Slappy, and I watched Candy Cane do it a little bit a while ago. The Celeste community was really awesome, really, really awesome from what I saw. I'm trying to. Do you have example? So we'll start with the positives. Can you think of games where you've either been in streams or you were streaming, and those communities were a positive experience?
I think the Souls community is a coin flip. You've got half of them are like supportive because they remembered their first day, and I guess you can, if you want to put a label. I don't like labels. I fucking hate labels. But if you want to put a label on me, just because that's what people do, I probably am a Dark Souls fanboy. Um, I started Demon Souls. I played Demon Souls when like people just didn't even know what the hell Souls was. Um, but anyway, like playing it, I've seen like the side where people go, if you go here, this can help you. Estes does this, yada yada yada. They're being great ones. But then you see like the dickheads who just go, oh, get good, get good. Oh, you're using that weapon? Oh my god, you are such like. It happens to both. Happens to both. I've seen that's the Dark Souls one. It's very split down. I think that's a fan that's split down the middle. Where you got half the people very supportive because they remember the first day they played Souls. They remember. But then you got the other half, which is like they've forgotten everything and they've just gone to this like transcend into this alpha nerd status where they go, I need to show off how good I am because some insecurity inside of them has made them go, you know what, I need to like bow down to me how good I'm at this game, even though there's no way of verifying if they're actually good at the game or not. Um, but yeah, I think the Souls because I've helped two of my friends get into Souls. Sorry, that's the that way because if that way is the bollocks to the UK. Sorry, people in the UK, I've offended you. All right, so two people. Yeah, so two of my good friends. One of my friends was just garbage at the game. He was getting so angry. He was used to playing baby games like Assassin's Creed or whatever, and I basically went to his house. I showed him how to play the game. I just went, just watch me. I played it the simple way, and he was just like, "Oh, that's not that hard." And I was like, "No, it's not." And I was like, and I told him where all the good weapons are, all this, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And he finished it, and he ended up loving the game. It's his favorite game ever. It's one of his favorite games now. And then like one of my other good friends, Bloodborne, same thing happened. He was like sending me messages non-stop saying, "How did you play this game? This game's bullshit. You're a masochist." Like he was getting angry as all hell. And I basically just said, do this, do do that. It's not that hard. And then 3 weeks later, he finished the game, and now is literally he's got the Lady Maria statue on his bedroom mantelpiece that he looks at. That's how much he loves Bloodborne. That he spent thousands of dollars on the statue. So I think fandoms, yeah, I think if they're positive about it and they're supportive about it and they show passion, but in a non obnoxious way or a non like talking down way, then fandoms can be good. But I guess you and me, Pretzel, we're a bit more cynical. We've seen too many bad stories
Oh
of the
yeah,
fandoms
absolutely.
like we struggle to think of a positive story. We
Oh, I did. Yeah. Like the first thing I thought about was the Celeste community. Cass brought up Enter the Gungeon, and from what I've seen, the Enter the Gungeon community is pretty good as well.
I only
They're
had one.
passionate.
I only had one arsehole. He criticized me because I played the game with a controller instead of keyboard and mouse. And I remember going up to this arsehole and I was like, "Did you know what?" And I said, "Do you know what genre this game is besides roguelike? It's a twin stick shooter." And I pulled out my keyboard. I'm like, "Twin sticks. Where are these sticks on this keyboard? Where is it?" And I went, "My controller's got twin sticks, but this keyboard does not have twin sticks." And I basically just explained to him that it's a preference, so shut the fuck up, dude, and get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, Into the Gungeon was mostly pretty positive. I remember Zola used to help me with all the guns because I just didn't know what the guns did. He was pretty good. I got a feeling Binding of
Mm-hmm.
Isaac would be the similar. I can't imagine Binding of Isaac's being. Poppy Eric's Slay the Spire. We all had a good laugh when I goofed.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'd ask Poppy or people that have played it or been in it, like Darkest Dungeon. I'm worried, or not worried, but I'm wondering about that community as well. Um, yeah. So like, okay, so let's kind of break down like parts of like, especially streaming and stuff like people that are watching the stream. So what are some of the aspects that can break or not break, but that can make a bad fandom? So like backseating is a big one, right?
Mm.
So
Judgmental
like
gameplaying.
judgmental, yeah. Uh at least I know when I play Dark Souls and stuff like that, I am very upfront that I do not care about the lore of the game.
Mm.
And there are people that are just so insistent on wanting to talk about the lore or insistent that I am just not like getting the lore or that like it's like that I'm missing out on something in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh that always like people that just like can't take a hint about stuff like that. Um I'm trying to think like okay, so how about what are some of the fandoms that you think have the worst communities?
For me, Zelda and Final Fantasy, they're the worst. And Hollow Knight.
So with Final, okay, was Zelda broad? But with Final Fantasy, is it all Final Fantasies, or is it more specific?
So for me with Final Fantasy, so as a kid, me growing up, I played Final Fantasy 4 first, and I thought the game was awesome. And then I played Final Fantasy 6, and I was like, holy shit, this game's amazing! Like, it's one of the best storylines ever told. And that's another game with good female role models. In case anyone, back to our original question to female gays and all that. And I loved it. And then I remember when Final Fantasy 7 came out, and like I was a Nintendo kid. I was actually a toxic Nintendo kid, by the way. I was like a really like I hated Sega. I thought Sega was shit. I like Sega now. Don't worry, guys. I like Sega. I don't like Sonic though, but Sega's amazing. Not amazing, but good. Um, anyway, so I remember when the PlayStation came out, and I had my 64, and I remember just seeing Final Fantasy 7. I'm like, oh my god, I'm missing out. This looks so good. Anyway, I played Final Fantasy 7. I think the game's pretty cool. But like when I met people who are supposed Final Fantasy fans, they only ever played 7 onwards. I'm just like, if you're a fan, don't you want to try the other games out to see what the other ones are like? How do you know Final Fantasy 7 is the best one? You haven't tried the other ones out. And they just had this like blind loyalty to their nostalgia that this was like the ultimate game, the be all and end all Final Fantasy 7, just because it's the game that took their virginity away. And that I can go into like this whole virgin effect thing, which I won't go into that because that's just another video I could talk about. But like it was just
Mm-hmm.
like so toxic, and I can never have a discussion with anyone who played Final Fantasy because they'd all just be like, "Seven's the best, seven's the best, seven's the best," and the first
Mm-hmm.
thing they always say is, "It's my first one I played." I'm like, I always say, "Is the first person you ever slept with the best person ever?" No offense to all the people who got married to their first love and it's all good and all that, but I'm talking about like people. You can't just say just because it's the first game you play is the best one. That's such a stupid mentality to have. You should always like see what else is out there. You should always like look at it critically. And like I actually like I like Final Fantasy 7. But like I always like go into arguments with people, and I could never debate anything because I'm like, well, Sephiroth's Kefka's a better villain than Sephiroth. And they'd be like, "Oh no, he's not." And I'm like, "Well, have you played 6?" But no, and like I can't even have a debate. It's just a one-sided conversation. It's just
Hmm.
so, it's just so stupid, and like I can't
Hmm.
like have any conversation with any people like about Final Fantasy because they haven't played any of the other ones or even tried or even thought about it. And then it's just like it's just such a frustrating series. And Zelda's the same. Ocarina of Time's the culprit, and Final Fantasy Seven is the culprit for Final Fantasy. It's just like, and like those fandoms, they're just so blind. Like they just cannot just look at anything with a critical thing. And ironically, when I replayed Final Fantasy Seven this year in January, because I was looking forward to the remake, I actually like Final Fantasy Seven more than I ever did back then as a kid. Funny thing.
Mm.
I still don't think it's the best one. Kefka's still a better villain than Sephiroth. The gameplay of 9 is better than 7. So, but yeah, like that's fandoms to me. They just don't know how to look at anything. So,
Uh, Spiver brought up the Persona fandom. They're pretty bad too.
oh, I've never dealt with them unfortunately. So I like to.
Oh, I have not by playing it, but by watching Slappy play it and Mocha play it. They're pretty bad. Same with the Shin Megami Tensei fans. Um, yeah, so for me, like even I'm not even talking about it as a streamer.
Hmm.
I've been in streams where I've watched people um, uh, play games,
Hmm.
and the fandoms have made it in a way that I didn't even want to watch the stream.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I know that feeling.
so like I've watched streams where like people are backseating or just talking about random shit like lore and all this other crap, or just going full fanboy on the game and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And it's just one of the things that I do when I play a game is, especially one that I know that has like a dedicated fan base, is one of the first things I ask them when they come into my stream is, I know you probably like this game. What else do you like?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is I don't want to get stuck on just talking about this one game,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull people out that are like, because you got like, I think what it is it's like it makes conversations and it makes the experience so monochromatic and so like tunnel visioned on like just one thing. And I think the worst of that is the Hollow Knight community.
Yeah.
Absolutely the worst. Like I can't watch anyone play Hollow Knight. Because especially like with people that when they get like fandoms and stuff like that, is like the Hollow Knight like hardcore fans just will not stop talking about it in chat. Like it comes across like they have no other interest, nothing else interesting to say. It's like, oh, and it's always the same conversations and it's always the same debates. It's always like, oh, which boss is harder? Oh, this boss is harder. No, I think this boss is harder. Oh, this area is interesting because of this and this.
Oh,
And like,
I hate the deep nest. It's such a bad area. Oh, the charm loadout.
yeah,
Exclamation mark
exactly.
charm in the chat.
Or just like dick measurements about like, oh, well,
I beat this
I
boss in
beat
my
this
first try.
boss so
Yeah.
many times. Yeah, exactly. And the Dark Souls community can be like that, but I notice it more with the Hollow Knight community, even with the Dark, even having played like Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne and Demon Souls on stream, I never got anything like I've seen people in the Hollow Knight community get
Oh yeah.
when
Tell me
it
about.
comes to fandoms and stuff like that. Um, yeah, the Hollow Knight community is probably
Actually,
it's to the point where I just will. It doesn't matter who's streaming it. I will probably never watch anyone play Hollow Knight. It
you know,
doesn't matter.
we're talking about fandoms, uh, bringing it back to positivity. Um, I just remembered. I don't think I've ever dealt with an annoying Metal Gear Solid fan ever in my entire life. And every
I
time
haven't either.
I don't know. So maybe someone's going to prove me wrong. That's cool. No worries. But like every person I've met play Metal Gear Solid, it's just like we become best friends. Like I literally like some of my best friends I met because I just I know I just brought up Metal Gear Solid. I'm like, you love Metal Gear Solid, and it was just like yeah, and then we just became best friends from that day on, and we just talk about and like even like people there's like because I remember when 2 came out, everyone hated 2, but then like there's but like people like it now, and it's just like it's just I don't know, everyone just I don't know. No one hates anything. They're just such a. I don't know. I just love Megasol. Should we talk about Megasol the
Yeah,
entire time?
Oh yeah. Well, like the most that I've seen, the most like I guess the most like controversy or conflict I've had with Metal Gear Solid is just
5.
talking about five.
Yeah.
That's it. Just talking about five. But like people that like when I've streamed Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 and 4
Yeah.
on stream, and the people that I've gotten in have been awesome. I've never had an issue with it. And actually I'm streaming Near Automata right now. The
Hmm.
people that I've gotten in, like that have discovered me through Near Automata, have all been really awesome. Um, and I don't know if I've just had a different experience or if people that have streamed it or watched other streams with Near Automata. Um, but like Near Automata, I had someone come in to Near Automata my stream a couple days ago. Really, it was probably, and this is not to
Oh,
you
Puppy.
know,
I'm going to remember Puppy's comment. I'm going to counter attack you right there in a second. But you go,
okay,
Pretzel.
yeah. So I had someone come in with probably one of the best introductions or best like kind of like instead of coming in and just saying like hello,
Yeah.
they came in when I was playing Near and they said, "Hello, I just finished this game. I didn't really understand the story. Can you give me your insight on what you think it was about?" Something like that, right? And it was such an awesome like way to start a conversation, you know. Um, and I've gotten a lot of that through um, the Near community. The Near Automata community has been awesome, really, really good. Um, and I think that so the game facilitates that, and maybe that's
Yeah.
another discussion. The game facilitates that because Near is has a lot of open-ended questions. It creates a lot of dialogue about like existentialism, uh, what it means to define something that's human or not. It helps that I've played it before, and so I can point out things that maybe didn't notice the first time, or things that I noticed the first time I played. Um, but it generates really interesting conversations more than anything compared to something like Hollow Knight, which is so mechanically driven and just like a bunch of dick measuring about like charm loadouts and how quickly you can beat bosses and like which bosses are the hardest and shit like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like the Near community has been awesome. I'm trying to think what other games I've played or witnessed communities with really good fandoms. While I'm thinking, if you want to interject to
Um.
Poppy's comment.
Yeah. So Puppy wrote, "I never seen a bad Silent Hill fan." All right. There's 3 types of Silent Hill fans. The first fan is Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 are good. The rest are terrible, and I hate you for liking the other ones. The next Silent Hill fandom is Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, 4 are good, and the rest of them are terrible, and I hate everyone that doesn't like the other ones. And then there's me, who likes them all, except for Book of Memories, because Book of Memories is a dungeon crawl and stupid. Um, but yeah, like I wish I could link you to the Facebook page. I remember one time. So when Silent Hill, so I don't know if you know this full story with Silent Hill. Um, so Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 and 4 are made by Team Silent, a Japanese team. They did a great job. Now they made Gravity Rush and they made Forbidden Siren after Silent Hill, and then they made Gravity Rush afterwards, which are great games by the way. Um, and so then I don't know what Konami was thinking, what happened, but like basically they just gave Silent Hill Origins to an American team, I think it was, and then Shattered Memories, which is the one on Wii, Trixie Fox Wii, on I don't know what team made that, and then Homecoming was that American team, and then Downpour was like a Czech Republic. I think they were Czech, that team. And like my concept of Silent Hill is that the town exists as a way to punish the people there and to make them. Remember we're talking about perception about streamers. That's what Silent Hill's about. It is about going to a town and realizing that you are something. Like the town forces you to look at yourself. That's what I love about Silent Hill. Force introspection, beautiful. I like that word there. That's what Silent Hill's about. So to me, like, as much as like, yes, I'm not debating it. Two's the best game. Two's one of the best games in the history of the world. It deserves to be studied. It deserves to be in the fucking Louvre next to the Mona Lisa. There should be Silent Hill 2 Special Edition on PS2 with the Xbox copy next to it and a PC copy, all framed and sealed up next to the Mona Lisa. That's where it belongs. It's that good of a game. And like they're great. Like 1, 2, and 3, 4 are great games. Then they gave to an American team like, yes, they're not as good. Of course, I get it. I don't care, but it's still a good storyline. Like, it's still got some bits of the storyline that it's a cool perspective to see someone else's interpretation of that city, because the base game is still the same. It's still a character, or characters that are facing some problem with themselves, or something. And like, I think Downpour's actually got a really underrated storyline. I think it's really good. And Homecoming has, like, I actually think Homecoming is some of the best monster designs in the entire series, and at least the soundtracks have all been good. So yeah, Silent Hill fans, there are toxic fans out there. They do exist. They're pretty annoying about it. Let's just say that.
Hmm.
But yeah, Pretzel, you said yeah, deal. While you were thinking.
Oh, I don't even remember what I was thinking about. I was listening. I
welcome to
was
that.
listening to you.
Welcome to the
Um,
podcast.
yeah, I know. Welcome to our shit show. That was actually so
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
the original title before we settled on Chilidogcast was like Fox and Pretzel shit show or something like that,
because we're just
which
shitting
I
on
thought was,
people.
yeah, exactly, and we're because we don't know what we're doing. Uh, uh, I'm trying to think. So yeah, things that like fandoms have done to push me away is definitely backseating or basically having tunnel vision, where like I get the idea that this is all they know and all they care about. You know what I mean? And this is coming from a person that, as a viewer and as a streamer, right?
Mm,
If I'm playing a game and all you seem to care about is this game, and that's all you want to talk about, right? I get passion, but that's just not interesting to me,
yeah.
right? Um, and same with as a viewer, like if I watch a stream like Hollow Knight, for example, and all they want to talk about is Hollow Knight, like, and I try, and even as a viewer, trying to like talk to them about different things and stuff like that, all it comes back to is just Hollow Knight, for example, right? It's just
Well, you
it
saw
just
me.
pushes me away.
You saw me when I was like playing the Hollow Knight, and like when I was doing Pantheon 5. Any new follow that came, I was like, just letting you know, this is not a Hollow Knight stream. I play other games. All right. So
Hmm.
I want you
Hmm.
to, and I'm here to show you there's other great games out there. Hollow Knight's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. I know the
Hmm.
developers, but I can show you other games that are pretty damn good, and that might even make you question: is Hollow Knight the best game ever made? Exclamation mark
Hmm.
charms in the chat. Let's go.
Yeah. Um, and Melodor said something interesting. Listening to this conversation, I think about that I've been that person other people stream, especially with Bloodborne, Dark Souls. Some self-reflection required, I think. And here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with being passionate about a game and wanting to talk about the game and stuff, but there has to be something else there,
Hmm.
right? People are complex, right? People have all kinds of different interests and stuff. That's why, like, when I stream a game, and the one of the first things I ask people is, "What else do you like other than this game?"
Hmm.
Right? It's not because I don't want to talk about the game, but it's because like I know that there's other things there to talk about and stuff like that. Like I don't want to. There's just other with the rare exception, there's only so much you can talk about a game. You know what I mean? Um, it's yeah, yeah. There's just like a
Yeah, I know, right? It's all good.
uh,
It's
no, no,
speechless.
no. Yeah, the big thing is like when I go into a chat and I see fandoms or people that are just absolutely obsessed with one game and it feels like they can't talk about anything else, it
Yeah.
pushes me away. You know what I mean? Backseating is a big thing, and I know that that's a completely different conversation. But just like there's just some people that like you said, like people, and I don't know what it is about Hollow Knight, Dark Souls gets that as well. Cuphead seems to get that as well, I think. People that just feel like it, I guess it all comes down to is the game difficult? Because then that pulls out people that that feel like they have the answer. You know what I mean?
Mm,
That they've got the solution, that they've figured it out. And they're there to help you. They're there to be their guru. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Um, and yeah, there's just some games that I will never play on stream. Hollow Knight is one of them. Um, I love playing Dark Souls and Soulsborne games on stream, but it's always a crapshoot. and I always think hard about whether I really want to do it or not.
Yeah, I don't blame
Because I
you.
just kind of know what I'm going to get into with some fandoms, right? Um, I've played Final Fantasies on stream, and even the Final Fantasies that I like or tolerate, like it's like you get certain fandoms when it comes to that. Um, so Fox, let me ask you, as a viewer, what's the worst fandoms that you've seen? Not as a streamer, but as a viewer.
Uh, yeah, Hollow Knight, honestly. um, it's just yeah, I honestly think that's the worst community I've ever like. Every time I watch like a stream with someone playing it, I just know like when they write those paragraphs of text explaining the lore, that they're just like you just stop talking about it. Like there's other things. Like talking about theories and that. And like I actually think it's disrespectful to the streamer they're watching as well. It's like, do you want to like get to know them, see how they're going, how's everything going? No, it's just like Hollow Knight, Hollow Knight, Hollow Knight, Hollow Knight, and and yeah, and like that's why I'm a smart ass to people in the chat. I'm just like I just go, you look like the kind of person that's got the ultimate charm loadout. Tell me about it. I don't know about your specific charm loadout. It's the best one. So yeah. But anyway, I think we've covered all the conversation about fandoms. I think I don't think. Do you have anything else to add, Pretzel?
No, not really. Again, this is episode 0. This was kind of like in the future, ideally, if this catches on, what we'll do is we'll pick one specific fandom
And then talk about.
and we'll kind of talk about them. For example, Hollow Knight, Final Fantasy, Legend of Zelda. Mocha brought up a great one, Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
Um, yeah.
yeah.
And we'll like kind of talk about one specific fandom and stuff like that. But
And yeah, we'll
yeah,
poop
that's
on
all
them.
I have on that.
We'll
I'm
dog them.
sorry.
We'll chili dog them.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, uh, that's I guess all we have to talk about that.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I guess wrapping up. That's the I guess that's the end of the actual show. And we got the next section is just the audience questions. So feel free to jump
yep.
in, audience.